Everyone, Ian Choi here. I am going to do a tier list of my favorite Godzilla movies. I plan to do this for a 500 sub special, but I realized I haven't uploaded anything in like 2 weeks, so I figured let's make a video right now. And also this will be one of the few. This will be like an unedited video too. So if there's any interruptions and you mind them, well, you're gonna have to stick with it. Also, I put everything in chronological order, so you're welcome. So let's start with Godzilla 1954. This is actually one of the first movies I've watched. Like, actually, not one of them. This movie was the first movie that I watched. And it was the Japanese version as well. And my god, was it horrific. It has to be up there. It has to be. Great characters, great storyline, great use of Godzilla, and great military action as well. And overall, it just leaves you questioning the ethics of war and nuclear allegory. And, well, although this movie hasn't aged that well in terms of its message, but as a film, it pretty much exceeds in almost every department. Characters, storyline, sound design, special effects, practical effects, and even action. Yes, action. Alright, so let's move on to Godzilla Raids Again. I'll put it in 4 out of 10. It was actually one of the later movies I watched, and well, I don't think I'll watch it ever again. I actually saw this around like a couple months ago. I kind of forgot some stuff about it, but what I do remember was that the dialogue was very corny, both in terms of Japanese and English, and the English one is way worse. The action, I'd say the action was good, but my guys, it's so choppy and not very finished and edited. Also, I just want to say that the cinematography in this movie is highly inferior to the first movies. And that's all I really gotta say about Raids Again. It's a inferior movie to its predecessor in every single way. Well, maybe except for action. I had some fun with it though. So, I mean, it's just a regular monster. I put a point higher, but the fact that it's a Godzilla movie just screams. Yeah. Alright. King Kong versus Godzilla. I actually rewatched this movie quite recently, and I'm going to put it in 6 out of 10. It was a fun movie. It was a bit corny, I will admit that, but other than the fact that like the dialogue was super corny and like Godzilla and King Kong's like their design sucked, the action is actually pretty good, and the storyline was serviceable, I guess. Yeah. Although I would say the action could have been better. All right. Mothra versus Godzilla. I guess I'll put it right here. Yeah. I love Mothra. Like her introduction into the franchise, like, actually struck a good impact on me. And I just want to let you guys know, I watched Mothra vs. Godzilla before King of the Monsters. After King of the Monsters was released. And well, hold on. Let me rephrase that again. I'll watch Mothra vs. Godzilla after watching King of the Monsters. Yeah. Yes. And I was like, oh my god, she was awesome. So I went all the way back to the 60s and watched their first crossover together, and oh my god, it was super fun. Although it was still serious with its tone, and I have to applaud it for that. It's good satire about capitalism and greed. Godzilla, I know he barely shows up, but it makes up for it because the characters and the storyline were all good. I will applaud that. and we're gonna get to that later. How the title character can be relegated to the sideline, but when it's executed well, it works. I know that didn't make sense, but we're gonna get to that later when we get Godzilla vs. Mothra. But for now, let's do everything in chronological order. So, Ghidorah, three-headed monster, right there. I don't know what to say about this film. It was actually one of the first, like one of the earlier Godzilla movies I've watched. I wish Imago Mothra was in here. That would have, although we wouldn't have gotten all that webbing and stuff and the victory and all that stuff. Ghidorah appears like, I like the build up to Ghidorah. That was actually done very well, but he disappears like for the rest of the movie until the climax, and he kind of just wimps out. Yeah. Well, the characters were also good. I like the Venusians, I will admit that, but the pacing is kind of a downgrade from the last movie, so yeah. But I will admit the action, as always, is very fun. Alright, Invasion of the Astro Monster. I'm also going to put this in order as well, so it's going to be on decent, behind King Kong versus Godzilla. Very slow. And I kind of got bored of it halfway through. I turned it off, took a nap, and just watched it again. But even then, like, I couldn't bear to sit through it. So I had to skip a bunch of parts. And even then, like, it was kind of boring, to say the least. Although I will admit the Exilians were actually pretty cool. But other than that, though, I don't have much to say, I guess. I mean, I guess Godzilla dancing is kind of cool. But, yeah. Alright, Ebra, Horror of the Deep. Average. I had fun with this movie. Although, Ebra being Godzilla's opponent, like, they should have just stuck to it being a King Kong movie. I mean, I get that they had to buy all the rights and all the legal stuff and crap like that, but I mean, you could have just chose a different opponent, like start from scratch or something. Well, I mean, the storyline, it was passable, I guess. The characters were actually kind of entertaining, and the pacing was kind of slow at the first act, but when they got to the island, it started to catch up. But so, I will admit that was actually pretty cool. And the action, it was kind of stale, I will admit. All I remember was a bunch of wrestling and biting and stuff like that. Not much of atomic breath, though. I mean, I've only seen a couple atomic breath scenes. But still. Alright, Son of Godzilla. Also average. I didn't hate this film as much as other people did, but, yeah, I didn't hate this as much as other people did. The storyline was actually, I thought it was pretty fun. The characters were fun, but it's just that everything else weighs it down. The action scenes are kind of stale, and, well, I mean, I get that they were trying to go more animalistic again, kind of like the Raids Again movie, but Camera Curses is just weak. Kumonga, I guess, was serviceable, but my god, Godzilla and Minoa are just hideous. Yeah, so, yeah, it's a 5 out of 10 movie. I thought this film was okay, but yeah. Destroy all monsters. Right here. What can I say about this film? The action during the climax was really good. I like the city destruction. I think is one of the best in the Showa series. Yes, even better than not better than 54's. No, not really. Well, actually maybe, but whatever. The action in the climax was good. I love I like Godzilla's new design. I think it's the best in the Showa series by far. Yes, even better than the 54 design. But my god, the pacing, human characters, and storyline was kind of a bore to sit through. And the Keelaks are no exilians, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I don't know where this switch. Well, I have more fun with the Shora monster, so I'll put it right there. Alright, and we're gonna put that there, and just ignore it. Alright, Godzilla versus Hedorah. What a weird movie this was. I don't know where. I guess I'll just put it right there. I don't know how to say it. This is one of the more cringier entries into the franchise. Like, Hedorah was weird. The editing is super, super weird too. Godzilla wrestling Hedorah, in those action scenes, I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing this kind of crap now. Like, I was like, alright, I think we just lost the touch of Godzilla now. And, yeah. That's all I could really say. This is just a weird entry. Mostly cringy. I thought it was scary on some parts, when Hedorah did the bones and all that stuff. But other than that, it was pretty lackluster. Godzilla versus Gigan. Where did I put it? I guess I'll put it right there. The first act was a bore, but it started to pick up. Gigan is awesome, and the action scenes are also awesome. The human characters, I guess, were serviceable. The storyline was okay, but not that much. But I had fun. I will admit that. Well, I'll be at the third act, but Alright, Godzilla versus Megalon. Hold on, I'm gonna put this off for a moment. I actually really like this movie. But I had fun with it. It was actually, I think, my fourth Godzilla movie that I've ever watched. People said that it was kind of mediocre, and I will agree to that, but I thought it wasn't that bad. So I'm just gonna, not terrible. I'm just gonna put it right here. I like Jet Jaguar. I actually quite like the human characters, and I like Megalon, and I like that Gigan came back too. But I think it was just a big step down. Like, that's what this is. That's what the later show and these three show entries are. Just big step downs. But then Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla came to the rescue, and my god, this movie was a 9 out of 10. Awesome. I had some problems, like stock footage and stuff like that. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't that much stock footage, but Anguirus is clearly falling apart. And I get that they were trying to make the suit change for fake Godzilla, but well, it just didn't sit right with me. I thought it was just annoying rather than intriguing. And but other than that, this movie was a blast. The human characters were awesome. Godzilla, I was like, and I guess I like Godzilla's design. Like, it's a big step out from versus Megalon, and the action, as always, is very fun. Alright. Terror of Mechagodzilla. I actually got this at DVD from my public library. And I guess I'll put it right here. Hold on, somebody's at the door. Alright, I'm back. Probably do my work, but you know. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Titanosaurus sucks. Mechagodzilla as always is great though. The storyline I thought was pretty good, but the action scene only happens for the last 20 minutes. It's kind of bored to sit through. So yeah, that's why I ended up on 6 out of 10. That's why I gave the movie a 6 out of 10. The Return of Godzilla. Good. I wouldn't say this movie's like great like most other people say, but it's definitely up there. I will admit that. Hold up. Wait, give me a second. Alright, sorry about that for constant interruptions. Anyway, The Return of Godzilla. It was good. I would say that, mostly. As I said, I wouldn't call this great. The characters were kind of forgettable. However, the storyline was pretty intriguing. Godzilla is actually quite awesome, and the tension that he builds up throughout the movie is actually awesome. Although the way he goes out was kind of dumb, but you know, you gotta set up the sequel somehow. And about the action, I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine, but it could have been a lot more because, well, it was kind of slow. Anyway, Godzilla versus Biollante. Up here. I really like this movie. It was one of the later movies I saw. I actually went from... Actually, I'm going to show you what movies I've watched. One of the first movies I've watched later. But I'm going to stick... But for GVB, storyline, awesome. Characters, awesome. Especially Mickey. I really liked her. And Megumi Otaka does a great job. Biollante, oh my god. What can I say about Biollante? She is one of the most detailed monsters I've ever seen. And it's not even CGI. They all did this practically with wires and such. Maybe there was a few CGI scenes here and there, but it was mostly all practical. And I have to applaud them for that. Alright, and Godzilla, I like the new Godzilla design. I thought Godzilla in 1984 was a bit like dumb looking at some shots, but this movie, Biollante, I thought this movie did a fantastic job at making Godzilla a lot more ferocious and scarier, and the design was a great upgrade. Alright. Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Up here. I know it was a step down from Biollante, but it's a cheesy B movie and I freaking love it. And that's all I like King Ghidorah's new design. Although I really did not like its origin. Godzilla's design was a step up. And well, the characters, as always, were great. The storyline I thought was kinda but it was serviceable. I could sit through it. And the action, I thought it was a big step up from Godzilla vs. Biollante. There were like two, and I had fun with both of them. And there were also pretty cool moments here as well. Although I will say it did rip off on some of the like properties from Terminator. I didn't really sit through that well. Alright. Godzilla versus Mothra. This is a pretty weird case because this feels alright, and I'm gonna go to this. I said before that Godzilla only appears in the last act, but it was worth it because, well, the front title was Mothra. Even though it was a Godzilla movie, it was still like saying, hey, Mothra is at the front, okay? But in here, Godzilla is at the front, and I expect to see a lot more of him, but he only shows up till the last act. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess the title character ain't coming like that soon yet, I guess. I mean, he did come a lot earlier than Godzilla in the Showa era did in GVM. I mean MVG, but I thought it was kind of not worth it. Also, there's a ton of exposition that I couldn't just really sit through. So, where would I put this? As a Mothra movie, I would have put it like right here, I guess. It was still kind of a bore to sit through, but I would say it was pretty good. But as a Godzilla movie, I'd just put it right here. I didn't see enough of him, and even though Mothra vs. Godzilla had Godzilla at like the very end mostly, it was worth the build up because we had a great action scene. But do you know what this was? A lot of beam spam and a lot of ramming. That's all I could really say. I mean, at least GVB and GVKG had like pretty good action with physical hand-to-hand combat, like especially in GVKG. But in the here, it was kind of just yeah. So, all right, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. Where I put it, here or here? I actually really love this movie, and it was actually, I think, my third Godzilla movie I've ever watched. Well, I don't know where to put this. I guess I'm gonna put it here for now. The storyline I thought was one of the best in the Heisei era Godzilla property. Mechagodzilla I thought was pretty good. I would say it's inferior to the Showa era one, but he was still really cool. Actually, now that I think I should just put it right here. I don't want to be too unbiased, but anyway, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Hold on, I'm stuttering. Like I said, good, great characters. I actually really like the new cast in this one. I thought they were one of the best in the Heisei era franchise, Heisei era series, Heisei series, whatever. And the action was pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of beam spam, but it did have cool moments of hand-to-hand combat, unlike that last movie. And overall, it was like. Also, this was one of the few movies that actually made me cry for Godzilla when he was about to die. But then Rodan came to the rescue, and I also love Rodan in this movie too. Also, the soundtrack. Wait, I forgot to talk about the soundtracks. So I'm just gonna go over them straight to it. G54, great. GVMG, also great. Actually, all of them were pretty great, except for probably the ones at the 5 out of 10. Like 5 out of 10 and below. Yes, even Godzilla vs. Gigan. I mean, actually, I don't think GVG had that good music either. But, you know what? Okay. The ones that are decent and above had at least good music, and the others that are average and below just didn't really have that good music. But that's not the case for Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, which I will put right over here. Yeah, right there. I like Space Godzilla, although when I looked at the concept art, I was like, dude, you could have just used these designs. I thought they were a lot cooler. So, but you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers. But yeah. Anyway, the action, I thought, if I were to be honest, I thought it was much more stellar than Godzilla vs. Mothra. All I can remember was a bunch of missiles, and a lot of beams. That's all I could really see. Well, actually, maybe I'll swap I don't know. they're all not that great in their own regard. You know. Yeah, I think I'll put it in this order. I I'm gonna say that they're in parallel level, but anyway, Space Godzilla. The plot is way too simplistic, especially for a Heisei Godzilla movie, which I was like okay, great with like very detailed ones because at least they portrayed them pretty nicely. With this, it's just very dull. Also, the new characters are also kind of dull. Like, come on, Kenjo Yamashita. What couldn't you have done? Like, come on. Okay. And Mogira, I thought Mogira was not that good. I wouldn't say it was bad, but not that good either. I liked his new design, but as the upgrade for Mechagodzilla, I thought it was just blah. Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. Right here. My favorite Godzilla movies. Yes, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah is my favorite Godzilla movie. Go figure. So much dark material to elevate it. It felt like a Gareth Edwards film. Or a Zack Snyder film. Even. And Destoroyah, I thought, was one of the best Godzilla villains. Burning Godzilla, great. And just as a conclusion to the Godzilla franchise, it was so beautiful to watch. And I wish that's what most Hollywood movies can do. If that they end their franchises like this, and they can only come back like after like a couple years or so. And that's what exactly happened because of this pile of crap. Okay, to be fair though, if I were to rank this as a monster movie, I'd actually put it like right here, right there. Okay, I thought it was a decent monster flick. But as a Godzilla movie, it's terrible. Godzilla's new design is horrible. And him dying to freaking missiles, I thought was also terrible. Also, the CGI in this movie hasn't aged very well. I don't think it was that good in 1998. Like, come on. You had a $150 million budget, and, well, you couldn't, like, make it more... Like, Jurassic Park looks a lot better than this thing, okay? And, well, that's all I could say about it. It's an inferior version to Jurassic Park in every single way. It's down to story, characters, action, and action sequences, and, well, special effects in general. Godzilla 2000 Millennium, right here. I thought it was decent. It was kind of schlocked together, but Godzilla's new design I thought was great. And Orga was also great. The action sequences I thought were fun, although the CGI in this movie hasn't aged that well too. And, well, this was meant as the resurgence to Godzilla. And, yeah. Yeah, and that's what it was. A response to the G98 dilemma and stuff like that. And as far as the humans and the characters go, I thought they were just okay, but I had to skip a few because I was kind of tired of it all. All right. Oh, oops. Oh god. Oh dang it! I think I lost my tier list because it's lagging. Oh. Sorry about that. I accidentally pressed the back button, but... Dang it. I think it should save it, though. Alright, hold on. Let me alright. Yeah, it did save it. Alright, good. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Godzilla versus Megaguirus. Right here. What a slow movie fest. And by slow, I mean I thought its pacing was worse than freaking Justice League. Not because it was fast or anything, but because it was too slow. Okay, like, and its pacing is all over the place as well. And overall, this movie's pretty forgettable. But what I will say that was actually quite good was that Megaguirus was pretty good, and well, hold on, let me fix this. Anyway, Megaguirus I thought was pretty good, and the final climax action scene was just a blast to sit through. But other than that, it was just kind of mediocre. Also, versus Megalon, you're not that special anymore. So I'm just gonna put you right here. Yeah, right there, at the top of 4 out of 10. Sorry, man. You're just not that special anymore. I think I should reorder them in order. Let me just fix all this. We only meant to put them in chronological order, so. GMK, all the way up here. Actually, yeah, here, actually. The reason why I took a point off at that last minute is because, well, King Ghidorah, I thought was just weak. Although it served the plot, it served its purpose, but I thought he could stand a better chance. He was severely nerfed in this movie. And well, Mothra is really small and weak here too. Although there's a ton of good things in this movie that I loved. Godzilla is a freaking beast. The storyline and the characters are one of the best I've seen in Godzilla property. Although I think it's inferior to some of these. But and other than that, this movie is just a blast. The action is great. The story is great. The characters are great. Some of the jokes are also pretty good too, and also the cinematography is great too. Alright. Let's move on to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. What this film lacked was originality, but that made up for it because of its execution. And the characters were also great. The storyline also pretty unoriginal, but I thought it was pretty good as well because of how it was executed. And Godzilla's new design was also pretty good, but him getting his ass kicked currently doesn't sit that well with me. But at least Kiryu, the Mechagodzilla, is a pretty good addition too. Alright, moving on. Godzilla Tokyo SOS. I haven't watched this film in a while actually, but what I can remember, I thought it was just decent. It was a big step down from GXMG, but you know, like Mothra. I thought Mothra was kind of unnecessary, but I guess she served her purpose. The action was, I guess, it was on the same level, but everything else was kind of a downgrade. The pacing was not that great too, and Godzilla getting his butt kicked constantly with no comeback is just pathetic, and the story and the characters were kind of obnoxious. Why didn't they bring back Akane Yashiro? Although I will applaud the soundtrack though. Yeah. Why haven't I been talking about the music in these movies? Yeah, I had to what was the word? I had to applaud the composer. I think her name is Michiru Oshima. I had to applaud her work for the Godzilla franchise. Also Takayuki Hattori. Godzilla Final Wars. Right here. What a fun movie this was. As a film, I think I'd put it here, but because this is a Godzilla Fun Fest, I just had a blast. The action is great. The characters, I thought were pretty good, but not the best. The storyline was just awful, but it made up for it because I had a ton of blast with it. And the CGI, it's aged poorly because of Zilla and all that stuff. But other than that, it was a blast to sit through. And Godzilla's new design and him being a kung fu master is also fun to watch. And that never gets old to me. Alright. Godzilla. Godzilla 2014. I just put it right here. I thought it was. This movie hasn't aged well for me. Godzilla, it's slow for the first 2 acts, and it only picks up that much. It only picks up well in the final act, and the human characters were a bore to sit through. I thought the story was pretty good though, but the pacing and the tone and the characters was also pretty good. I mean, pretty meh, not good, meh. But I will admit, the story. The tone, cinematography, and the weight of these monsters was also pretty good. I thought the Mutos were great. Were not great, but good. I thought their designs were kind of generic, but they're executed quite well. And this movie clearly gets Godzilla. It shined him in a new light. And I will admit that did a good job at that. Shin Godzilla. Political satire. I love it. I'm not usually one down for politics, you know. Oh no, I'm not really brave enough for politics. But this movie was just, I wouldn't say it was a bore, but it was actually quite entertaining to sit through. Yes, I said it. It was quite entertaining because the human characters were pretty charismatic. I like the actors. The storyline was pretty good, and Godzilla's new design is just great. And the action, great as well. Or, well, not great, but it was still good. Alright, Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. And this is where it's going to get a little controversial. Right here. Yes, I put it above Godzilla versus Megaguirus. For the movie that's titled Planet of the Monsters, it really took a leap in not showing the Planet of the Monsters. The movie was a bore, although I will admit that the last act picked up a bit when Godzilla showed up, and the action was pretty good as well. Although I had to sit through a ton of exposition, very dull characters, and well, I don't think it was worth an hour and a half wait just to see Godzilla, the real Godzilla, appear again. I just thought it was, although this is a pretty good foundation, I will admit that. And this will just go here, 3 out of 10. Godzilla sitting on the edge of battle is just a bore. Worse pacing than the last movie. It had some development, but the others were more walking exposition. And well, and we didn't see Mechagodzilla. The action was also kind of inferior. It was just a bunch of guns and such, and it was starting to get a bit old ever since the first movie. Other than that, though, I will admit the music for these two were pretty good. The cinematography and tone was also good, but other than that, pacing's awful, storyline awful, characters were also pretty awful, and yeah. Godzilla Planet Eater, I put it right here. Probably the most watchable of the three. How do I say this? Ghidorah, I thought his design was good, but the way they executed it was just horrible. He deserved a lot more. Also, the way that Haru goes out is just kind of BS. I mean, I know that he's trying to get rid of the nanometal to get rid of the thirst for humanity's hunger, but the execution was kind of not there. In fact, it actually took so many rewatches and so many answers from my Discord just to understand what his sacrifice meant. And, well, again, the pacing and storyline was just awful. Although I will admit Metfeast was actually a pretty good improvement. Alright, Godzilla King of the Monsters. This might seem like I'm jumping the gun a little, but I'm putting him right here. Yes, above Shin, above all of these great films. Because King of the Monsters in on itself is a great film. It introduced me to the modern iterations of these characters that I've watched since like mid 2018 when I became a fan. Like when I saw this movie on DVD, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm super pumped, and yes, it was all worth it. Characters, a big step from 2014. Although I thought they were not that great too, but they were good. Storyline also pretty good, and actually kind of tragic as well. And action, one of the best I've seen in a Godzilla movie. And the monsters, they were awesome. Both the classics and original monsters as well. Original Titans as well. And I like Michael Dougherty's style of world building here too. I really have to applaud him for that. And my god, there are a ton of Easter eggs and callbacks that I really like. Kind of like Endgame. I wouldn't say this film is better than Endgame, but it's certainly up there. I will admit that, it's certainly up there. And finally, we move to Godzilla vs. Kong, and this film is I don't know where to put this. Oh, not there. Definitely not there. I guess I'll put it right there. This is a flawed film, but it made up for it because of how much fun I had. My god, it was a blast. The characters were kind of one of the worst of the franchise, but they were still a bit passable. I thought the story was also passable. The action, best of the franchise by a mile. The choreography, the lighting, the special effects. And I really like how they tried to humanize Kong as well. Although it kind of went against the humanizing of Godzilla in the last two Godzilla movies of the MonsterVerse. But I guess it's something to work with. And, well, Mechagodzilla in this movie was also great. Alright, so let's see what else I have to. Let's see how I can reorder them. Let's see. Would I put it right? Let's see. Right there? No, I think I'll just stick to that. And nah, I don't want to be too biased. Yeah, I think that would be a good spot. And I'm putting Shin right here. Anything else? Actually, I'm gonna put it right here and right there. And actually no, I'll keep that order. And other than that, maybe I had fun with this. I had fun with Emperor, so actually I'm gonna put it right here. As for this, I'll just put it behind here. Actually, yeah, like that. And alright. So, that was it. This is my tier list. I didn't want to use letters. I wanted to use numbers because it gives a lot more variety to me. So these are all my rankings. And, well, if you want me to do like a versus video between these Godzilla movies, then I will do it because I will go into more depth about why I gave them these scores. And maybe one of them will change. Maybe I'll up it right here after a rewatch, or maybe I'll up it right here after a rewatch, or maybe even here, or maybe even here. Who knows? But other than that, this was a pretty this took a while to record. I actually wanted to do this a while back, but I didn't have the time to. But yeah, I think this will be my tier list. Hold on, I think. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put it right here. So this is my tier list. Hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe post your tier lists as well. And well, And if you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to me. I will be uploading more content with my next versus video between Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice to Captain America: Civil War. I know that seems obvious, but I'm currently working on the script right now, and I actually like both movies, and I'll see which one is a lot more superior. And the scores may surprise you. Other than that, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list video. I have to go back to work, but, and yeah, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I just think this would be an appropriate like tier list too. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Hold on,